Cool. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us once again. It has been a jam-packed day full of insightful conversations. This is day two of the ninth edition of the Africa Early Stage Investor Summit. Thank you to the teams from VC4A and ABAN for pulling together such incredible investors who have been sharing very practical insights that are not only moving our collective thinking, but also helping us shape the future of the continent. Today started with incredible master classes on VC fundamentals and the governance of angel investing. Then we had a series of discussions that really were trying to unpack in different ways what is the future of angel investing. And I'm super excited to debrief on this incredible day with Abu, who's the founder of Josie Angels, and Yemi from Rising Tide Africa. How are you both doing? How have you found today? Yemi, I heard that you had a late night yesterday, just, having fun in the investor meetups in Lagos. So also interested to see how you found that and then how you found the day as well.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yesterday was great fun. We had the legendary Timmy Davis as our host yesterday, and it was a bit in the beginning. It was a bit, low because we actually had time spent looking at the life of one of us that had passed on, Sir Richard Davis. So we looked at his life, and it was very encouraging. But at the end of the day, we had, after about 2 years, started seeing a lot of other investors around Nigeria that had come from everywhere, and we had lots of fun.
Yeah, so we don't want to create any FOMO for anyone, but we continue to encourage those on-ground relationships to continue. Today was a lot of different insights. Abu, I know that it was probably interesting to hear all the range of discussions around the angel investing space, how it's changing, and you've been involved for quite a while, right, in the space. What are some of the things that stood out to you from the conversations, and anything that resonated or you felt that it's a little bit different from your perspective in terms of what you're seeing?
I think it was a phenomenal day all around. Just really good content. It's amazing how the team gets all these great speakers together every year, and each year tends to get better and better. For me, I think the one point you talk about angel investing and how that's changed over the years. Dario was talking about data around angel investing, and specifically around an inflection point in the angel space. He mentioned 2010 as a growth phase in the angel space. I almost tend to see it as 2020 or COVID, if you like. We're starting to see, at least in my view, a lot more interest in the digital economy. There's, whether it be corporates, international investors, something's happened, and all of a sudden we're starting to see everyone interested in the work that we're doing. And we're seeing this at Josie Angels with a lot of organic traffic to our site from people looking now to deploy money into the space. So we've still got a long road ahead of us and lots of hard work, but it is getting a lot easier. I almost see it as 2010 to 2020 being the hard yards, and I think we are starting to see things mature, ease up, becoming a lot easier from a founder's perspective, becoming a lot easier from an investor's perspective. There's definitely a level of maturity that we hadn't seen in the years prior.
Yeah, no, definitely. But just as we thought we survived COVID, and then we get into the down market, right? And I think there were a couple of conversations just around the challenges that the ecosystem is currently facing, both for fund managers in terms of their journey towards raising funds, but also for founders. Yemi, any reflections around sort of some of the challenges that stick out that represent where we are really as a continent, and some of the opportunities that could also present themselves as a result?
I think that from all of the conversations today, it was clear that Africa is not the focus for in the space of angel investing, both for investors and also for founders. And it was also clear from the diversity of speakers today from all over the continent that the level of maturity is staggering. However, there's easier learnings from those that have really burnt their fingers. The main challenges that we had faced earlier on this year, like that of valuation is beginning to come down. So now valuation is being used as a bargaining chip. I'll reduce my valuation for you if you can give me this or you can give me that. So the reality is dawning on a lot of the founders that they need to, put their A games on and ensure that they're no longer doing the Uber of this or the Uber of that or the copycat of this and that. It is also, like Abu has said, it's becoming easier. We're seeing a lot of deals. The challenges of the quality of deals it's reducing because of the number of support accelerators and incubators that are really grilling the founders, and making them come out and be investable. So all of
Yeah.
these challenges are now reducing. Well,
Yeah.
but then there's other things that are beginning to come in. But I think that we have stood the test of time
Yeah.
over the couple of years. Yes.
But it's quite an exciting point because there's also this return to sort of the core fundamentals, right? And part of that fundamental is governance, which I was super excited that there has been so many different conversations today around governance structures. I think across funds, but also for founders. Abu, any reflections on that in terms of what stood out?
Yeah, I think the one comment from Rebecca was that governance is often tough love, and you've got to dish that out at times as an investor. Look, I think as a founder, the natural inclination is just to try and run and build the business, focus on building the business. Governance is often a secondary concern or consideration. It's just the way entrepreneurs are built. And I say this as one as well. Look, I think there does come a time in all entrepreneurs' life where you realize you're managing other people's money. You are accountable for the way you use it, and then you've got to put processes in place and structures in place to make sure that it's done appropriately. And I think it is often something that we overlook as founders, but fortunately, there are those experienced people in the room. And I think Raj was talking about an engagement that he had with one of his founders where the founder turned around and said, founders know best. And he was like, he fell off his chair or figuratively, I assume. But, I think for founders, it is... they're in a fortunate position where they can leverage the brains in the room and get feedback from people that have been there, done that. And when they do need assistance on governance or complicated operational matters like that, they can leverage those, the gray hairs.
Yeah. And I think another thing that is super exciting, and Yemi, I'm interested in your perspective on this, is just that gender lens focus, right? We had an incredible showcase of great, incredible female founders, but also so many different investors who are women who've gone through that fund management experience. And I know Rising Tide just has an explicit focus on the space. Anything that stood out to you from a lot of the gender lens investing energy that we got throughout the day?
I mean, I was really very happy when I saw some of our own in startups or showcasing like Bankley and ERA, and it was exciting for us because it's we took first bites and tried to build them up as well. It was also interesting to hear from Jessica on the smart gender smart investing, and for us as female angel investors, a lot of the women that joined as angel investors and didn't know how they could invest and what would come out of this are now beginning to understand that they had taken the right step. So hitherto you would be looking for the female founders. It was a struggle about 3 years ago. But now we're beginning to see a lot of them, so much so that as Rising Tide, we have also now started an accelerator program so that we can really groom them, invest in them, and then showcase them, just like the showcase that was done today. So it was really, really, really exciting for me.
Yeah, no, it's incredible how there's so many more stakeholders sort of providing support along that entire life cycle for women founders, right? And I think platforms like today and just the overall conversations give this positive feeling about where we're going as a continent. So, Abu, final thoughts, key views on where you believe we are as a continent and some of the opportunities we can begin to leverage going forward.
Look, I think having been through, worked in the financial sector during the financial crisis, there was lots of talks around certain markets being decoupled from the global market at the time. This was 2008, 2009. That didn't prove to be the case. I think that the crisis globally in terms of the European crisis that we're seeing with energy issues, the slowdown in certain economies, the increase in interest rates across the board, that is going to, in some form or another, impact our markets at some point or another. We are coming off a low base, and I think we've powered through 2022. And I think we will continue to see some growth, but I think there may be a tapering off of that growth at some point. But I think probably importantly, we are starting to see a lot of governments now placing emphasis on the digital economy, going, we need a startup act. We need to nurture the talent within our ecosystems and support these young entrepreneurs changing the world. And so I think a lot of the fundamentals, those foundational fundamentals, have been put in place over the last year or two, and will start to reap the benefits over the next 5-10 years.
Thank you. Yemi, any closing thoughts in terms of the day and any reflections on where we are as a continent?
Reflection on where we are as a continent, yes. I think that we've come far. I think that we are the sweethearts or the darlings of the world now when it comes to angel investing. I think that I mean we're getting a lot of offers in terms of partnerships, in terms of support, in terms of all of those are just coming to us in Africa. And I should say that we should watch what we take. So that we're not tying ourselves down, because I think that as Africans, we have started a journey of building Africa by ourselves, and we should be able to stick to that. There is a lot of support with the. I mean, I listened to Fadila's session on the ecosystem stakeholders, and there is a lot of support even within Africa in itself. And so for us, we have started a journey, and rightfully so. We have ABAN, who has successfully tried to create that network of networks, and it is for us to leverage on the stakeholders, on the networks within the ecosystem on the continent, and we do what we do best. I think that we've as the startup journey, as for startups itself, I think that we are now in the scale-up stage as a continent in the angel investor space.
Cool. Thank you so much, Abu. Thank you so much, Yemi. And thank you so much to everyone that's joined us throughout the day. Extra thank you to all the investors that showed up to kind of share their insights and be able to just engage us in conversations around the different areas that we covered and how we can truly advance that early stage investment. But there's still more tomorrow, so please do join us tomorrow for the various sessions as we really just look at the seed to Series A stage investment and the different areas as to how we can grow that landscape as well. Abu, any final thoughts on what people can look forward to tomorrow before we just close?
Yeah, I mean, if today was phenomenal, I think tomorrow is going to be much of the same. We start off with Idris from Lofty Inc. and Andrea from Knife Capital, two people with lots of experience in this space at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It runs all the way through the day. I'm particularly looking forward to those two speak. Vinny Lingham at just after 12 o'clock is coming on. We've got a few panel discussions. Maxime is going to be talking about data in the venture capital space. And I think 5 years ago, we couldn't talk about data because we just didn't have enough data. And now we can do pattern recognition. Now it's just a sign of maturity, which is great to see. And then there's a discussion around patient venture capital which I think is definitely something that we need to pay attention to. And then the second theme or broad theme of this particular seminar is green tech and clean energy. We've got a in-depth panel discussion at 1:00, and then we run through with content throughout the rest of the afternoon. DeFi is another one that I'm looking forward to. It's a very topical, hot subject, and so we've got three really good speakers that are going to be with us at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. And then you and I will be back to wrap up tomorrow late afternoon, Hope.
Yes, super excited for that. And thank you so much to everyone for powering through the day, sharing your insights. It has been incredible just learning from everyone, and see you all tomorrow as we tackle the third day of the Africa Early Stage Investor Summit. So thank you once again and have a good evening.
All right.